The Winnipeg Arena was home to the Winnipeg Warriors of the Western Hockey League. The Warriors were an expansion team that year along with the Brandon Regals. The WHL had started in 1952-53 as a kind of amalgamation of what was left of the Pacific Coast League and the Western Canada League. In 1955-56, Winnipeg's opposition consisted of teams from Seattle, Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton, Saskatchewan, Brandon, New Westminster, and Victoria. The league would lose some teams and gain others until 1974, when NHL expansion and the creation of the World Hockey Association would put an end to it. Others would bequeath their rinks to NHL and WHA teams. In 1955-56, I entered my second winter as a photographer at RCAF Station MacDonald just south of Lake Manitoba, northwest of Portage-la Prairie. Sometimes a carload of us airmen would drive to Winnipeg for the weekend to see a football game or drink beer at one of the brewery's dance halls. On one of these trips, a batch of us snuck a Mickey of booze each under our warm jackets and attended a game in the beautiful new arena. I don't remember which team the Warriors beat that night, but I like to think it was the Seattle Americans. I do remember what a rush it was to be at an actual professional hockey arena after all my years of looking at pictures and reading magazine stories. There was the bright light overhead, the echoing bang as a warm-up puck smacked the boards, the steel blades cutting ice, the organist practicing his or her cavernous riffs. But for me, the most exciting thing about that night was getting to lay eyes on Bill Mosienko. Bill Mosienko was very famous, and I'd heard Foster Hewitt say his name often. I had his stats in my head. It was a lovely story, though I'd never at that time have used that adjective. Bill Mosienko coming to Winnipeg to play professional minor league hockey. Mosienko was 34 years old. He'd just played 14 years for the Chicago Blackhawks. Well, you could really make that 12 years. In his rookie year in the NHL, he played in 11 games and got 14 points. Called up from the Kansas City Americans, he scored his first 2 NHL goals 21 seconds apart. I was 6 years old. I didn't know till later. His second season was peculiar. For some reason, the U.S. would not allow him into the country. The U.S. had belatedly entered the war against Hitler, and I guessed Mosienko's name was suspiciously European. Anyway, he played for the Quebec Aces in 1942-43, except for 2 games in which he played for the Chicago Blackhawks in Toronto. He scored 2 goals in those 2 games. Of course, if you know anything about hockey, you know that Bill Mosienko still owns a record he set in 1952 when he scored a hat-trick against the New York Rangers in his favorite duration of 21 seconds. I have no idea what my fellow airmen knew about the NHL or whether they were tickled to be in the same building as the little guy who at the time of leaving the NHL was the 7th all-time with 540 points. But here's what I was looking for: a leader, a captain, a creator of that damn team, a pretty old guy who could have played another few years in Chicago, but who was here, giving professional hockey to the town he grew up in. He grew up a scrawny kid with Ukrainian-speaking parents in the north end of Winnipeg, and when he was playing in Chicago on a line with 2 Bentleys, he was about 5'7" when he took his skates off and weighed 160 pounds on a heavy day. So, just the way it happened when he was a kid, the bigger player's strategy was to bash him around. Despite that, he won the Lady Byng Trophy in 1945, scoring 54 points and serving exactly 0 minutes in penalties. That's why I liked him. In his first year with the Winnipeg Warriors, he got 2 minor penalties, but he also scored 64 points. He led his team to the league championship and then carried them to victory.